Hey, Jay here. We have our best products of 2022 for you to check out right now. Okay, so we have a lot of products. We've done this in the past. We have a lot of cool products that we get to use throughout the year. Now, not all these products are new for 2022, but some of them are new to us, and some of them we have more time on now. So it's nice to be able to talk about them a little bit, give you our thoughts, and we're going to do that right now. Okay, so the big news for the summer of 2022 is the new Dunlop MX-14 tire. This tire, everybody heard about it all summer. If you were watching the Nationals, Eli Tomac and a lot of the racers were running this new Scoop sand mud tire. We've been running these style tires for a long time, especially at the track. Cahuilla, Glen Helen in Southern California, we love them. Even on some of the desert trails, these tires are really good. So really good tire. I think it's going to be a good choice for a lot of guys. Something to consider, MX-14. If you have the luxury of having an extra wheel, I tell guys, get an extra wheel, mount one of these up, have it on your bike when you show up at the track in the morning, and then after your practice, maybe your first moto, switch back to your MX-33 wheel. Simple deal. I mentioned this last year, but now we've got more time on onX Off-Road, and we love this thing trail riding. It helps out a ton. Spencer's become the master at it, and we like it. It tracks all of our rides. We have offline maps. We have just access to tons of really good info, and also it's really good to feel safe on the trail knowing you can get back. Really helpful app for you. You can get it from us. You can use our link in all of my Linktree stuff, or down in the description below. The code is DBTV1 in lowercase. If you want to try it out, you can get a week free or 10 days free to check it out as well. Cardo Systems. These guys make communication systems for in-helmet use. This is next level. We've gone years. I don't know why we waited so long. I think also when Spencer was younger, I don't know that we could have pulled this off because he's always back talking me, and we're always arguing over who has the best trails. So now with this on, it's changed our trail riding experience. We don't have to stop and talk as much. We have this, and it's so light and quick and easy to put on here. You can fit your speakers in your helmet. Some helmets are going to be harder to figure out where you want that. You don't want it pressing on your ears too much, but it's a game changer for trail riding. I think if you have the ability to afford this, again, I think it's a good way to go. You can use our code on this one as well, DBTV1 with Cardo, to check it out. Star Racing out of Europe has titanium foot pegs for a bunch of models, but especially the new 2023 KTMs. They have a new style foot peg finally, and they have the 2023 one available. So if you have a 23 and are looking for some good sharp foot pegs, they're a great option for guys who want a really good footprint and be able to be really planted on the bike. Motion Pro. Motion Pro is one of my favorite companies. Worked with these guys for a long time. I'm going to talk about an old tool, and that's the Bead Buddy. If you watch any of our tire change videos, you know that we use this on every tire change, and no matter what style or size bike, the Bead Buddy helps a ton on tire changes. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is 3D printed pieces. It's becoming all the rage. There's tons of companies that have 3D printers, and they're making kind of useful things that before would be too expensive to make out of billet, casting, or forging. And so you can be more experimental and make things that are maybe a lower run. And so been some really cool ones. This is from Bulletproof Designs. They made a tool to go on top of the radiator cap of a 23 KTM, SX, SXF, XCF. Those models, you can get on here and turn it and get it off. Otherwise, you kind of got to use pliers. It's kind of difficult. So a really cool tool, 3D printed. Tech 167. He's out of Australia, Joel. He's made me these brake clamp bleeders that are really, rather than using a zip tie, not a total must, but kind of really cool. He can 3D print these, even put our logo in there, which is really nice to get our logo in. And then there's some really cool companies like this 252 Additive. They're making chain adjuster blocks. And what's nice about these is, in the old days, we'd always, 3 fingers, 4 fingers, depending upon the bike. If it was a PDS bike, it was like 4 1/4 fingers, and 3 fingers, and everybody's got different size fingers and where they're measuring that. So this is a cool little tool because you can put it right against the chain block, and then be able to simply get in there and measure it. It's a great. I did this with Spencer, but we used a piece of PVC, and I'd measure it, and then just have him use it as a block, as a gauge. So there's these really cool blocks. 252 Designs makes them. Every bike has a little bit different setting for stock. And the reason that change is different is when you take the shock out of the bike and move the swing arm, that chain slack or tension gets tighter in certain spots of the stroke. And so you want to have it so it's loose at the tightest point. And that's different on different bikes, depending upon where that swing arm relationship is to the countershaft sprocket. So you can't just use the same adjustment on every bike, So that's why it's important to know your proper chain slack. Okay, so that's 3D printed parts are really cool. And while we're on 3D printed parts, there's a guy named Factory Fins out of Europe. He's in Ireland, and he makes a bunch of cool pieces. One of the pieces he makes holds the MyLaps tuner, which we use. And when I go racing with Ratto, these are really cool lap timers, and you can get your lap. They do a good job. A lot of guys will rent these at the track, or if you buy your own, then you have it, and you can use your own little cool mount. You just zip tie this to the forks, and then you can get your lap timer on there just like that. Another 3D printed part, which is hard to believe, is this piece from Moto Minded. Moto Minded kind of specializes in dual sport off-road products, and they make this really cool license plate holder that's totally pliable. And you can just run it just like this with your plate on it, or you can mount it on a, have it mount like this with your plate on here like so. And it's totally pliable and movable on the bike. Next, tire stand. This is a great product. So, and especially if you want the gift that every motocross guy wants is a tire stand changer tool, right? So if you email me, and if you can't find my email, I don't know where you live, but just go to our Instagram Linktree or my website Linktree. Down below in the description, there'll be contact, all that. We'll email you the drawings for that with a few different video links to watch, give you all the information on doing that. Also as well, when you're watching these videos, in the link below, there'll be a Rocky Mountain link. If you're shopping for parts, go to that Rocky Mountain link. Helps out a little bit, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Okay, enough commercial. Let's get back to some cool products. ECUs. Vortex or stock ECUs can be mapped by Jamie at Twisted. He does a great job. This is off our KX250 23, and then we have some older ones, and he can map stock ECUs for a lot of bikes. The 21 and newer KTMs are locked out, unfortunately. So you'll have to get a Vortex if you really want to modify your 21 and up KTM Husky Gas. Unfortunately, KTM has it locked, so you can't modify your stock ECU. You're going to have to get a Vortex. What mapping does, just so you know, and doing this, you can raise the rev limit a little bit, make it a little bit happier, but that's not the main thing on a KTM model. But it helps get rid of popping, especially on decel. A lot of the bikes are a little bit lean stock. You can get rid of that popping, and it'll run a lot cleaner. Also can help on flame out. Running a little cleaner won't flame out as easy. Two-stroke air filter cage. Really cheap modification, and it's a simple KTM part number. And this KTM air filter cage is out of a two-stroke. This will, if you put it in your four-stroke, you lose that backfire screen. It just gives a little bit more snap, a little cleaner. If you're on a 450 or bigger, you probably don't need it unless you're just the optimal race guy. But on 350 and smaller bikes, this can really help give you a little bit more oomph out of that bike. And it's a really cheap mod, $15 or so, ordering the stock part number from KTM. Works Connection has fuel screws for four strokes. Now, most people are over carbureted four strokes, and they don't deal with them anymore. But if you have to deal with one, this is the way to go. It comes with all the pieces you need, the spring, the washer, the O-ring, all that. Makes it really simple on these fixing up these four strokes. So get one of these if you have a four stroke and you're gonna be working on the carburetor. Really cool little bit from Works Connection. FXR, this is some new gear we've been wearing. Really like the gear. We've been wearing off-road gear is what they call their line we were wearing last year. And this is race, and it still fits us that are challenged in here like me and Ratto. Okay, more me than Ratto, but still, like both of us. And the fitting is good. I wear 34s in this with an XL jersey. I really like the stuff. It's low cost and really good looking stuff. So, and it's been fairly durable for the price. Again, if you're wanting the super high-end gear that lasts forever or whatever, that's a different game than what this is. And this is, but it's good gear that lasts a long time. and you can stay fresh looking with FXR. We do have a code in our link tree down below if you want to check that out. Very cool. Here we have our 95, 96 range CR250 engine we've gotten rebuilt. There's a couple key things in this, or there's a lot of parts and effort that went into building this. My buddy Brad at Parapros helped me out with this. If guys want to send engines in to Brad, you can send me an email and I'll do an intro, and he can work on your engines wherever you're at to help rebuild them. I'm going to talk about some of the key things we did that I want to mention. First one is Sano Metal Finishing. They do vapor blasting, Cerakoting, and can just clean things up. So that's really nice. That's what happened to these cases, and these all here got the Cerakoting. Looks amazing, as you can see, right? So that looks really nice. Next, Spec Bolt. You can see Spec Bolt has bolts all around the engine, and you can do them for the chassis right there. Moto Tasneri reed cage. We have one of those right here as well. V-Force reed cage, kind of the standard with 2 strokes. The biggest improvement you can do for the money. And most all 2 strokes need updated reeds anyway. Recluse. A lot of people just go, oh, you have a recluse in there, using it like a generic term like Kleenex or ketchup. And they just assume you have an auto clutch. Recluse makes torque drive clutch plates, which are their more standard regular style clutch plates, but there's more of them in the stack. And that gives you better grip and thus torque. And durability has been really good with the torque drive. We've now been using them over a year plus and have really good results. Pretty happy with those on here. So torque drive clutch, Wiseco piston in our Millennium plated cylinder. So that's a really good thing. And then TMR modified the cylinder and head. Everything's all matched right there. Pro X connecting rod, which is right here. And let's show you what a crank, this is a crank that's going to get rebuilt out of a YZ250. So we have a crank like this, and you can get a crank like this all rebuilt with brand new Japanese made rod kit. So you get a rod kit that comes with the bearing, the thrust washers, the lower pin, everything's in here, and a top end bearing. You get everything to rebuild an entire crankshaft, and that's what's in here. Most shops locally to where you are will know somebody that rebuilds cranks. And so you can do that. Out here in Southern California, we have Andrew Langston, who of course was Grant's mechanic, his nephew. So Andrew Langston's will rebuild cranks. Of course, the engine's all sealed up with brand new Cometic gaskets throughout. And then we have the Pro X bearings, Pro X carburetor rebuild kit in the carburetor that Brad rebuilt. And he has these Honda hoses that are really cool on here. And so that's the main part. As you can see, there's a lot of pieces that go into making a cool engine, and it's one that's going to last a long time. So hopefully that helps you out with the key pieces we use in an engine rebuild. JD jetting kit. Now, a lot of guys get on us about, hey, they cost too much for everything that you get. Is basically the main thing is a needle and a setup sheet. But he does a lot of work into setting those up and coming up with those. And if you have a trail bike or a bike that's a problem to jet, like a newer KTM with a Mikuni, this would be the way to go. And also he has the block jet gasket that goes bad on those. So JD jetting kit, a must for trail bikes. I really like it. I think it's a good value for what you're getting. R50. This is definitely not new, been around a long time. I've been using it for over 25 years and plus, and stuff's been great. We get a really good results with it. We run it 32-1 in the 125s and under size bikes, and 40-1 250s motocross bikes, 50-1 in the 250-300 trail bikes. We're at 55-1 range on those bikes, and just great results on the piston wear and cylinder life. W for Wiseco. Okay, Wiseco is just known for 2-stroke pistons, and one of the coolest things about this piston is that it's a 2 millimeter over, and it's a flat top race piston, Honda style, for Rado's YZ134cc build bike. That's what this piston is. Pretty cool setup. And they get the weight on these. They try to get the weight as close to the stock weight piston as possible, even though it's 2 millimeters larger, which is, 80 thousandths, which would be 134 cc's, is what you end up getting out of your 124 cc. You add some power to the bike, and this one's all set up by Tom Morgan that we're going to see coming out. Hopefully early this spring, we'll see Rado's 134 cc bike coming out soon. Okay, a little bit of chemicals information. This Z-Max has been really good. We've been using this stuff the last few months. Really nice degreaser. And they also have this silicone spray, which is like good under the fenders before you ride. Also kind of freshens up the plastic, but it doesn't help stuff stick as bad. And then they got a good, just an oil-based lube that we use on the chains and like say foot pegs and any of the metal parts as we wash down the bike. We don't use chain lube. We're not fans of most chain lubes. We like to just use a lube like so on our chain lubes. Also, Klotz also has contact cleaner that's really good when you got to use that contact cleaner. Little expensive, but really good contact cleaner. Sprockets, aluminum, steel. These are the same size KTM ones. Obviously, the steel one weighs more. All steel we run on all of our trail bikes and dual sports, where weight really isn't a big a deal. We could probably run these on our 350 and bigger bikes on the track, but it's in our head. We want to have the lightest and greatest. So steel on all of the trail bikes. And then as far as the motocross bikes, we use the aluminum ones from Pro-X, getting really good wear. On aluminum sprockets on current 4-strokes, none of them last forever, as you know. They do wear out sprockets a little quicker. So these are no frills sprockets. The aluminum and the steel only come in black. So just kind of a good quality, no frills sprocket, steel and aluminum for you. Clutch weight. Now on a current 2 or 4-stroke, like a KTM bike, it can be difficult to, I haven't even found a heavy flywheel. So adding weight to the clutch will also help in that, maybe help in flame outs, also make the power a little bit more tractable and easier to ride. It's a pretty simple install. Adds 7 to 8 ounces, I think it is, one of the two in there. And they give you the bolts. You need to run these bolts, and this is Blaze Racing, if I didn't mention it. They have a really good flywheel weight, and we're putting one on our new 300, and I think we'll be putting one on Rado's 300 soon as well. Double take mirrors. Now these mirrors are really cool for enduro and dual sport bikes because they just simply, and they come in a bunch of different options here in lengths, and it's a really cool feature to have on your dual sport bike. Okay, so as you can see, it fits on the ball right here, and you just tighten it up and you can put it on whatever angle you want. But the coolest feature of this is that you can loosen it, tuck it under here for when you're on the trail. You get it tucked in really nice and then tighten this thing up really good. And it's totally in here and you forget that it's even here. And then when you pop out to the road, you can just simply pull it back up, just undo this. I gotta be super strong to do that. Okay, and then put this in the position you want. And I always stop and pull over a hair and just kind of line it up with where I want to be, right over my shoulder, and that's a great setup. Lock-on grips. I brought this up before. We were late to the game on lock-on grips from ODI, and it's a game changer. So much easier to install. They last really well. They're not that expensive. They come with multiple cams for your bike. Now, if you have an oddball bike, some of the 65s and 85s might need special cams, which you have to, when you go on their website, you can check that out if you need a special cam. But majority, 90% of the bikes all come with the kit. Pretty simple setup. We like this half waffle setup. Lithium batteries. Who would have ever thought we would have got batteries this light and small? They don't last forever, and especially in the stock KTMs or really any of the bikes, they don't last forever. We have videos talking about proper way to start it. Bump the starter, let it wake up, wait 5 or 6 seconds, then go to start it so they last longer. These batteries do really well. Really nice battery for the cost, especially a lot lower cost than a lot of the other batteries out there. Okay, so I failed to mention that I took my Christmas hat off, and that's, I just got a little bit hot, and that was because I was talking about all this stuff so much. But if you have the guy that's impossible to shop for because he's got everything, father-in-law, whoever, they can always use another set of Tech 10s, because who doesn't want a brand new set of Tech 10s? I don't think anybody, right, Rado?
You bet.
Okay, Tech 10's just the most comfortable boot out there, and amazing feeling. Galfer makes custom brake lines, and this one is 2 inches longer. Oh, it's 3 inches longer for a KTM Husky gas whatever bike that's a XC bike, let's say, or SX, and you put a headlight on it. You need to run a little bit longer front brake line to clear the headlight. If you don't, it can get kind of bogged up in there. And especially we did our TX300 and we have the Moto Minded setup. The headlight kind of pushed it out a little bit, and then it wouldn't allow it to get over there. Usui and Ogio, these style packs, this one's a little bit larger. The reason I like these packs is because they don't seem to pull my waist down during the ride. I kind of forget that I have it on, and you wear it like a Manzier. Just goes on like so, It feels a lot different when there's water in it. This one's empty. But the weight's all right here, not going across the waist, I guess getting sore while you're riding. I don't mind those kind of packs when I'm hiking or whatever, which obviously I don't do a ton of, because if I'm hiking, I might as well be riding a dirt bike, right? It's kind of my theory. So pull the pack off. Both of these style packs I really like. You can see this one's got plenty of dirt from our recent rides, and they both have 3-liter bags in them, which I really like to have. Spencer can drain a 3-liter bag in no time. I am usually like a 2-liter bag guy, Dave. So really cool to have a good pack set up that clips in the center, takes that weight off the waist and off your shoulders. The drop from FMF is kind of a cool service. If you're looking for that gift for somebody that you can't find anything for them, this is really easy. They get a new t-shirt every month. They can stop, pause the subscription at any time. And there's usually a little gift in there every month of some kind. Pretty cool little deal from FMF. After hurting my knee in April, I've gone back to where I am back wearing my full protection knee braces. The new Asterix cell braces, carbon cells, really good fit. Spencer's got really big thighs and calves. They help fit us up with some a little bit of custom setup, and they have sizing charts and can custom help you out with braces. And most people fall in the regular category in their small, medium, large, extra large categories, but they also will help you with any custom fitments. So the Asterix carbon cell is a really good option at under $800 a set. It's a good investment, but a really good option for a lot of guys who are taking moto and trail serious and are considering knee braces. It's a good option. All right, so that's a wrap on our best products of 2022. Whatever you want to call it. It's been fun showing you guys a lot of the products we use, and we use a lot. If you have any comments, feel free to email us and get with us. No problem at all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the video. We'll see you next time out in the track or trail.